Would you like to talk?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, my name is Michael Kingston Lee, and I live with my wife in Glenwood Gardens in North Taunton, opposite Taunton Green. Glenwood Gardens is a group of around 15 residential buildings and is only accessible via Hope Corner Lane. We would like to bring to your attention matters of safety for the residents of Glenwood Gardens and their visitors. The issues: difficulty in exiting Glenwood Gardens in a vehicle turning left or right into Hope Corner Lane, crossing Hope Corner Lane as a pedestrian from Glenwood Gardens, and in particular crossing whilst pushing a wheelchair or on a mobility scooter. This is particularly relevant to our neighbours in number 11. Why? There are very restrictive views up or down Hope Corner Lane due to there being no pavement on the Glenwood Garden side, and the road is lined with hedging and trees. This means having to creep into the road to see if it is safe to proceed. Added to which, the unclear sound of traffic, distortion from the hedging, and very little sound from electric cars, bikes and scooters, and overall the excessive speed of traffic. What is currently missing? Signage of a current speed limit of 30 miles an hour, signage indicating that Hope Corner Lane's width reduces from just past the entrance to care homes until the bottom entrance to Taunton Green, and signage that indicates a turning into Glenwood Gardens, which is effectively a concealed entrance. What might help? Some or all of these. The things I've just mentioned that are missing: reduction of the hedging trees, reduction of a speed limit, speed calming measures, humps either side of the entrance to Glenwood Gardens, or one single long one at the entrance to Glenwood Gardens, incorporating a pelican crossing. The creation of a bus gate between Glenwood Gardens and the entrance to the care homes, thereby restricting through traffic to the number 1 bus, emergency vehicles, cyclists and tractors, and also electronic speed indicators. What we have done so far: approach Somerset Council Traffic Management about mirrors, the restricted views, lack of current signage and the possibility of additional signage. Only a road width narrow sign is a possibility. However, they have informed us that any future interventions must be supported by our councillor and come through and be supported by our town council, which is precisely why I'm here this evening. Other relevant points: the residents we have spoken to in Glenwood Gardens all agree that the issues outlined need to be addressed and are happy for us to pursue. We are in the process of formalising this with a petition. The bottom of Glenwood Gardens is used as a passing place when 2 opposite streams of traffic cannot proceed. There are often temporary gridlocks. This results in heightened levels of vehicle fumes and frustrated drivers who invariably drive too fast when the road becomes clear. Drivers often accelerate to way over the speed limit if they think they are able to do the whole distance of the width restricted part of Hope Corner Lane, so that they don't have to wait at the junction with Glenwood Gardens. And any future increase in traffic flows due to diversions or additional developments will make matters worse if these issues are not addressed. We have met with our councillor Nick O'Donnell, and he has visited us Greenwood Gardens and met with other residents of the community today. We are looking for the town council to support whatever measures are deemed practical to improve the safety of the residents of Glenwood Gardens. Thank you once again for your time.
Thank you very much. Just like to say thank you for your statement.
Thank you.
Would you be able to possibly email over to the town council or Marcus statement as well? That'd be really helpful.
What I'll do, and it might seem a bit strange, is my original was about 4.5 minutes. So this is the shortened version, and if I send you both, the other one's got more detail. Is that all right?
Yeah, well, it's really
good. Thank you.
So what we're going to do, we're going to go through the other items on the agenda, and then number 5 we'll then come back to Glenwood Gardens to then discuss that. Is that okay? Yeah. Perfect. Thank you again for.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you. So first,
am I free to go? Is that all right?
You're more than welcome.
You can wait and hear us discuss it if you wish. It won't be very long, I don't think.
Oh, won't it? Oh, that's okay.
Minutes or something.
Oh, fine. Yes, go.
No worries.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so apologies to receive apologies for absence and prove the reasons given. We had any Apologies.
Just for Councillor Isaacs, shared.
Okie dokie. Do we need to vote that one? Need to know. That's noted. Perfect. Thank you. Any interest in word in the room? Any here? No. Okay. Thank you. And minutes to approve and sign as a record the minutes of the previous planning meeting held on the 20th of March 2025. Has anybody got any comments on the last minutes? No? Could I get a proposer to accept the minutes? Councillor Toots, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Tully. Let's go to the vote. Yeah, that's carried. Support. Thank you. Right, the next item is the forward plan. Members to note the forward plan for the Planning, Development and Licensing Committee. Has everybody had a chance to have a look through the forward plan? Is there any comments? No? Okay, could I get a proposer to support forward plan, please? Councillor Toots, could I get a seconder? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? Carried. Thank you. Now we're what to say.
I've never been at council meeting so efficient.
No worries. Yeah. Right, so item number 5, traffic management requests. So to consider recent traffic management requests relating to Bindon Road, which we're going to defer for this evening and to the next meeting, but we're going to talk about the Glenwood Garden and Hook Corner Lane. Is there any comments in the room? Councillor Toots?
Yeah, I can wholeheartedly agree. I used to be a district councillor for Taunton Deane Borough Council back in 2012, 2013, and so I used to deliver Glenwood Gardens quite often, and I think we managed to clear it back once the thing, and I totally agree with the gentleman here that we should look to try and do something. I agree that when you're coming out, you kind of have to like peer forward. I don't wish to get into all the options available to us, Chair, but you know, like the very basic ones like mirrors or cutting back the sides of the hedges and the wall there are simple ones to do. But I think unless we can do anything proactively, I would sort of look to the local members like Nick O'Donnell to bring some stuff forward. I don't know how we would do that. I don't know if we've got a power of committee to do anything with that. That's what I would suggest, Chair.
We're to Councillor Bowman and go to Mark.
Yeah, so thank you for coming in. I'm sorry I was late to the meeting, so I couldn't hear your full comments.
You're on the ball.
But I know the location, and when I used to go to the old Ladymead school, yeah, sort of going round there with my mum trying to get around there was always very difficult, and obviously people would use the Woodland Gardens entrance to as a way to pass, and that obviously presents a bit of a danger. I think kind of the ultimate kind of solution for this would be to build on that green grassy verge to increase the side of the road so that you can have two-way traffic. But I suppose in the meantime, yes, trying to maybe put in a request for hedge cutting, because I believe parish councils can make a request of landowners if their hedges are obscuring a piece of road or view of a junction. They can be requested by sort of court order to cut it back. So that is possibly something we could do.
Yeah, I have to agree with Councillor Bowman actually. And actually, listening to your statement this evening, I think obviously there's a big group of people that actually live in this area, and I think definitely speed awareness and obviously the speed bumps I think would definitely help. Signage and mirrors. So I think what your statement is actually saying, I think I'm agreeing more and more with you. So I don't have any issues at all with what you're saying. Marcus?
Thank you, Chair. There's just to say that I have had correspondence from Councillor O'Donnell saying that as the county councillor for the area, he does acknowledge the residents of Glenwood Gardens' concerns regarding their safe passage, either exiting a vehicle or crossing as a pedestrian, and do support their action to have Somerset Council making improvements. Just in terms of the mirrors, I'm aware that Somerset Council advised on their website that they don't promote the use of them anymore as a measure. That's something to just feedback on, but happy to take this away. I've recently met with the traffic management team at Somerset Council who deal with the signs and lines in the main, and obviously we start feeding through these requests that are coming through from the community, and they have offered a sort of monthly meeting with Taunton Town Council to discuss various issues, which is positive. I think in terms of things like physical infrastructure like speed bumps, obviously they come up more of a cost to the local authority.
Yeah.
And the message was very much that obviously things that do come across, obviously Somerset Council have to prioritise their spend accordingly.
Perfect. So kind of getting a feel from the room to support obviously the traffic request for the Glenwood Gardens. Do I have any more comments on this, or Councillor Tully?
Yeah, thank you. Oops. Sorry, I was just looking at the hedge. The hedge is well cut. It's back to the boundary, isn't it?
This could
It's
be.
not-
This could have been.
It's not over.
Around 10 years ago, I think.
Who's the controller to it? So the hedge is on the right hand, on the right hand side. That will be the council. That will be Somerset Council's responsibility. It's interesting that they're not doing it.
Am I allowed to say something?
Yeah, of course.
In my original thing, I had actually said that part that you were looking at there, which has been cut right back on the corner, has made absolutely no difference whatsoever to the visibility. And if you look left up the road, you can't see anything because there's a big tree that sticks out. And even if that was taken out, you still couldn't look up the road. The issue really is you need a safe width to actually get out and actually look either way. And another bit, I'm sorry, our neighbours at number 11, the guy is in a mobility scooter. He can't actually use it on his own anymore because if he goes across the road and turns left, he can't use it along that pavement because of the tree roots. So his wife pushes him down to the bottom of Glenwood Gardens and turns left and walks him up the road in a wheelchair to get to the bus stop. And that's not good. Sorry.
Probably more.
Yes,
Councillor.
yeah, I concur with what Marcus has said. I think with the authority where we're at with that, the more, although we're looking for a real solution and a permanent solution, because obviously cutting back the trees, you can cut them back, but you've got to make sure you revisit a problem. But I guess we need to try and find is a solution that's in the middle of those two things, because I think as soon as you talk about traffic controlling measures, humps, you're going to be on a list. Put it frankly, it's going to take a while. So I think what we're looking for is something sort of mid-term, or something that could be done relatively cheaply, but will solve the problem that such a thing exists. But
And be on the list as well for something.
yeah, I think add to the list, sure, but we all know that if you're trying to put in a crossing or something, you may be waiting for some time. So it's finding that middle ground, that idea that does it at the best possible price and the quickest for you guys, really.
Councillor Lesson.
Sorry, just did you say that there was a problem with tree roots on the pavement as well?
Yeah. If you go across the road and turn left and try to go up towards the bus stop, God, I can never remember the name of the road, Cheddon Road, she can't push that wheelchair anymore because she's frightened it's going to tip over because of the tree roots. So she pushes him up the road now.
So I'm just wondering, is that something that is more within the boundaries of us being able to impact, making sure that the pavement is safe to use? Because that seems to me to be more likely to be something we could remedy more quickly than perhaps widening the road or doing anything else.
Sorry, having said that, she's getting less and less. She's getting more and more reluctant to actually walk him across the road because of the difficulties in actually going across the road.
Right.
And that's the same for everybody on the estate. It's not an estate, but it's a collection of people there.
I think really, what we could do is obviously, your statement, I think we all agree that there's obviously a big issue there and obviously needs addressing. Actually knowing the detail to what would be the most efficient mid-term and long-term solution would be probably the best for us to obviously put your statement forward as for Taunton Town Council, but also for Marcus to liaise and to kind of put forward as like I said, mid-term, and then get on the list for a long-term solution as well. I'd probably say that's the best solution for this meeting.
Yeah.
What do you guys say?
If Marcus is having these regular meetings with,
Yeah.
that seems to be very proactive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there can be some fine tuning on the detail
Yeah.
to actually achieve something a bit more faster. Yeah, that's kind of getting feel. Okay, so to support the traffic request and kind of, like I say, go back to Marcus to put forward a Taunton Town Council request to be more efficient on a mid-term and long-term solution. Could I get a proposal on that, please? Councillor Furman, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? That's carried, but there's
It's okay, you, Mr. Starr. Limping up the stairs.
thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Pacing myself against the car and I'll be walking past in traffic.
Yeah. Well, it was a huge queue of traffic coming the other way.
Yeah.
And then it was a police car, so I wasn't going to give them.
Good, you? Obviously, out of your boot.
Yeah.
Against-
Yeah. I went up to Scotland yesterday up here. I was there 3 days. My dad had a heart attack. I ended up there for 2 weeks. I'm still really remote.
Maybe we still just go to goes and back.
Yeah.
I've got a fortnight off. We're definitely going to find time.
There's not anything that's
I've got to show him the houses.
Just to really, you get to peer out.
fantastic. Yeah, I want to see it.
Still.
That's big.
To comment on planning applications received from the local planning authority to consider a schedule of applications submitted for consultation.
Oh.
So the first item is 38-25-0115, which is reserved matters, approval of reserved matters following outline application 34-16-007 for access, appearance, landscaping, scale and layout for the addition of a retaining wall to the approved Silk Mills Junction works on land of Staple Grove West, Taunton. Okay. So
There's a lot of documents.
yeah. If we have a look at the existing plan and elevation. And the councillors.
It's time for the Johnson.
Just a warning.
Just comments. I have previous comments.
We got any comments on this application? Councillor Furman?
Yes, so this is it's part of the works to widen the sort of road a bit near Silk Mills Junction, so that they can put the entrance to the new Stepgrove West housing development that the developers are hoping to put in. It will take out quite a lot of sort of greenery and trees from that kind of area, but there will at least be sort of like top layer of trees still, from what I can see from the from the plans. I was initially hesitant about it, but then looking at the plans for how they're looking to mark out the entrance, I thought there's not really going to be another way that you can particularly do that.
Like you say, there's a quite a bit of greenery being taken out, but saying, how else they'd be able to achieve it, probably a slim chance really. So I don't really think there's much else they can do about this application. Have I got any more comments? As a lesson.
The undertaking to replace the trees that they're going to have to remove. Yeah.
So Farmer?
I was going to say, I didn't have the initial answer, but I think, answer two is logic is head, so I think there probably will be. But I can ask Simon Fox about that in my next meeting as well.
Councillor Sage.
Thanks, Chair. Do we have the comments from the ecology services actually refers to their previous comments from previous application, which was, and it was 30th of October 23. Do we have their previous comments to know what it was they actually had said?
I think it's within the list.
I couldn't find, it's not within the list on this.
Okay.
And they haven't attached it to the email that the letter was sent. I just wondered what their comments were original.
Okay, there's only one page on that. It may have had a different application number on the last application, but they would have attached it. Do we have that number for
The ecological one. I think so. I've just got it. I'm just checking.
Is it not 14007?
like Councillor Furman said, it might be the 34-16-0007.
It is that one.
Yes, it's just, yeah. Reason mitigation again. Compensation.
Personally, I don't see any issues with this application. Councillor Twos.
I don't know how people scurrying around with, is it possible to try and find it? I couldn't find it on Google Street View just to see. I don't know how easy that is if Councillor Furman would be able to sort of guide.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer Simon Lester's, I think it's quite a rough area of trees, and what they'll replace will be more, when it'll look very regimented to start with.
Yeah,
I think as they grow out, it will be better standard. I think I read. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's further north from that area. It's right around it now.
Found it yesterday.
As long as the mitigation is there.
Yeah, I was going to say,
A bit to the
don't worry about things it's an obligation rather than a suggestion.
yeah, just around that area where your mouse
It's
is.
probably that wedge.
So the road we saw from the diagram is that road there, and the wall will go on the opposite side to where the field is.
Opposite side. Okay.
On the field side.
No, opposite to the field side from the road.
I see, sorry, I'm with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Can you put the little man on to that? Would that give you a better view of it?
Street View.
Yeah, so it's
So it's in there, is it?
So the entrance for that is going to, the entrance is going to be where that lay-by currently is. And the wall's going to be sort of going from there down towards where there's a path that goes to Mill Rise.
That's fine. And to be honest, what's there? Just going back to Councillor Two's comments. What's there currently? It seems to be very overgrown. No organisation on that side of things. So I actually think going forward it will look a bit more maintained. Councillor Furman.
Yes, within the planning application, there's also markings on the sort of road markings showing how the entrance is going to look and all the different kind of bits of the road for like cycle paths and things like that. So I don't know if that's worth.
Already narrow, so any improvement on
Mm.
pavement. Yeah.
Would you like to have a look at the those as well?
Yes.
Yeah, no worries. So if we go back on that application, so look at the cycle paths going in different entrances.
I think it's highway signs and lines plans.
Yeah. Something better than what's that at the moment.
So at the moment, it's just a roundabouts.
Yeah.
And that's what's gonna replace it.
Could help with congestion going up to the roundabout as well.
And certainly crossing from roads on that roundabout is quite dangerous for pedestrians and cyclists. So
I think the planning actually looks like a good improvement to what's there currently.
So Wells roundabout's going to be replaced?
yes,
Oh, right, okay.
it's going to be traffic lighted.
Mm.
According to these plans.
Yeah.
Okay, so get your Phil to support this application. Could I get a proposer, please? Councillor Ferdinand, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Stainford, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much. Next item is 38-25-0112, which is for planning permission, erection of a porch to the front of 40 Line Crescent, Taunton. Okay, so if we have a look at existing house drawings, post house drawings. Self-explanatory, old concrete porch. Go to the proposed, please. No issue at all. To be honest, the height's not really changing much. What was actually there before, and I can understand why they're doing that because now it's all concealed. So, yeah, I don't see any issue with this at all. Anybody else?
No.
Matching brickwork, matching all the UPVC
Yeah.
finishes. Yeah, no problems at all. Yeah, kind of get Phil to support this application. Could I get a proposal, please? Councillor Tully, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is 38-25-0113, which is for planning permission, erection of a single-storey extension to the side of 2 Arlen Road, Taunton. So if we have a look at the existing elevation plan. We have a look at the proposed, please. Really what they're doing, they're just infilling out the back. Makes sense, an extra room. To be honest, it's not like the footprint of the actual properties. Very much bigger. They're actually just infilling, which is a good idea. And they're matching all of the original finishes. Same UPVC, brickwork, render, tiles seem to be the same. I didn't see any issues with this. Was there any more comments on this? Councillor Toos?
Yeah, there was quite a strongly worded objection from somebody that's on Wellington Road, and I couldn't. They said they were very close to it, but I couldn't work out where. Because this road is right on the corner of
It's
Wellington.
that's
Road.
right. It's right by the pedestrian crossing to Tesco, Alien Road, and it bends round.
But is this a revised? Is there? I think this might be a revised plan.
Also, it might be a good idea if we can get this up on Google Maps as well, just to know where we can pinpoint this if it can be done. Is that possible? As well.
Yeah.
That's the big test. isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the big test.
It didn't seem to make sense to me.
That's why I thought this is maybe because he was revised.
Probably because the end house is Alien Road, and next door is Wellington Road.
He says it's going to block his light.
That's what I think.
There's a porch there anyway,
Yeah.
and all they're doing is building out, I'm gonna say probably 3 meters out. And actually, for a single story extension, not a double, they're actually still keeping it low key as if it was just a bigger porch. It has a stay port. Yeah, go.
Thanks, Chair. I was wondering, because when I read it, I had the same thoughts as Councillor Toos. Reading the objection from Mr. and Mrs. Mildren, I think these are revised plans, because actually it sounds quite different to what they're talking about. So this looks like an REVB proposed plan. Has this been revised here?
If you have a look,
Is there a previous?
if we go to the top of that, all the way to the top, sorry, on this document, there are objections to application 0113, which is the one we're talking about this evening.
I think if they go through the list of documents, there are some earlier versions on there. I think
Is there an earlier version? I think that may be
she is something
proposed.
further up, or is it just the elevations? It doesn't look like.
The date on that letter was only last week as well, I think.
Can you do the satellite view on Google?
It just sounded so
Zoom in,
different
so
to
we
what,
can actually see where.
because usually it's only fit in filling. That
Yeah,
one.
yeah, if you have a look at
It
this.
looks like it's only in filling, which wouldn't affect any neighbours, but when you read their objections, it sounded different.
That's a problem, so.
I can see that the apparently new proposed plans came the same day that the objection was.
Is that maybe?
So I don't know if that was just a coincidence or, if they have changed it because of that. But from what I can see, it wouldn't change anything to anyone else's house or.
It looks like it's on the other side of the house.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So I couldn't understand why.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair, but I couldn't understand where this resident is. That it's overlooking.
No, it's the one to the,
It must be the one to the immediate left, or is that number 9?
it's the one to the left, but it doesn't impact.
That's number 2 is where the extension is where your cursor is, isn't it? It's filling in that hole there.
Filling that square, and there's clearly a porch there.
It's the
But
opposite side.
I can't.
I think it's that one, it's got the number 9 on it.
That's number 9,
That's
Wellington.
Wellington.
Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
This is the-
Yeah, so- yeah. The next door neighbour is Wellington Road address, and the other one is the Alien Road.
But I don't see where that.
But I still don't see how one can be impacting the other at all.
That's why I think it's a revised plan.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they were originally going straight out the back or something.
Can we also look at the proposed, gave like an other view of elevation? It's like additional view, I think it's the second one there.
Side of the house.
So definitely solid.
So you say you've got that, so
That's nice.
I can't see they couldn't get any course of length at all.
Definitely one.
Yeah. Maybe they must have in this. Yeah, less originally they were going straight off the back. Yeah, maybe.
They said it nearly doubled the size of the house.
Ah, right. That's not doing it, is it? That's a lot.
do I have any more comments on this application?
This is a revised plan. I'm slightly confused about
Where's
complaint.
Councillor Stapleton.
see the floor plans? Because in the letter of objection, they talk about it being almost suitable as a second dwelling. And I don't think these plans show that. This is where I think they are different.
Kind of like the objection spoken about was on a different
I
item.
think this is a different plan.
Yeah.
This is just,
Just a
That's
jet,
different.
really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a sitting room. whereas they said there was going to be, in the letter, they state that it's the full depth of the existing house and a substantial addition that extends nearly the full depth of the existing house and includes a bedroom, living room, dressing area and ensuite. This is a different plan.
Yeah.
So I think it's civilized.
I think we need to go by what we see this evening in front of us.
Yeah,
The plans that have been proposed.
Chair, I looked at this last night and I did think it was quite a significant change to both sides of the houses, but I might be getting mixed up or I might be going mad. But I can't see it now.
I think really going by what we can see this evening, what's been proposed, actually what they are proposing, I personally don't see any issues at all with this application.
No.
Like you say, it's not towards what the objection was talking about. It doesn't outline anything to do with this application.
I don't think the neighbour can even see the extension, much less.
But it's actually,
They can't.
No.
yeah, I don't see any issues, and actually support this application. And I'm getting a feel the same in the room, as there's no more comments. Yes,
I've just found another application for the same address, but it's a different reference number.
Oh,
Are we looking at the one that's 113 on the?
Yeah, we are, yeah.
Do you want me to shout out? the one?
yes, it's
Yeah.
the number.
38180022.
so preferably they might have commented on
Right, see if I'm-
applications.
Oh, yeah, that was. It's the only other thing that comes up on that first. I don't know if it's got any more information on it. Or possibly not. This one had a decision in 2018. Maybe ignore that then.
That's good. No worries. Okay, on that behalf then, kind of to support this application, could I get a proposal then, please? Councillor Staple, could I get a second there? Councillor Furman, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Very much. So, yeah, it's a bit of an odd situation there, because obviously what's been put in front of us this evening, yeah, looking at the plans, I don't see any issues at all with it, but actually the objection doesn't really,
Doesn't match the plan, does it?
yeah.
No.
Okay, so the next application is 6.4, which is 38-25-0099, which is full planning permission, formation of a high standing for 4 air source heat pumps at Taunton Ambulance Station, Lizzie Way in Taunton. As I've put in comments, I didn't see any issues with this. Actually, you know,
No.
pretty crazy
Yeah.
for an air source heat pump, but actually it's quite good that then, you know, if they are using gas currently, to go to a more eco-friendly idea, don't see the issue at all. Have we got any comments on this? Exactly. Okay, so to support this application, can I get a proposal, please? Councillor Tully, could I get a second there? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried, thank you. The next item is 6.5, which is 38-25-0114, which is full planning permission, external alteration associated with internal subdivision to create 2 units at Unit 1 at Priory Fields, Taunton. Okay, so could we, if I'm right in saying, is this the, might be incorrect, is this the Dunelm?
The one we looked at before. Is the,
It's not the Iceland one.
it's not the food store one, food line.
Yeah, so they're on about dividing this into 2. Which is crazy after they just paid for a massive refurb only last year for the whole place. But my comments on this were kind of think we're gonna start seeing more big units be subdivided, just because rents higher, but also businesses don't want the outlay of a massive unit be empty. So I can understand a reason why they've done this. We got it up at the moment. Really wanted to kind of, if we look on the elevations on existing, we'll look on the proposed just after, please. Yeah, so there's Diane. Big unit. There's the proposed. Pretty straightforward. Split in half. Dunelm's not going.
I don't know what's going in the other half, because it can only, like, having two Dunelms would be slightly crazy.
That we did before.
Have I got any comments on this application? Councillor Staple?
What version is that? It's similar to what you did to the Wix
The other-
buildings at the other end, because remember it used to be massive and they split it in half a number of years ago. It was originally known as the largest Wix in Britain, and now it's not. And I'm pretty sure it was a similar situation where they split it off. I don't even know what's in the other half now, so
Do you know that?
I don't think that.
I have no problem with it.
I think it's almost a business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gonna have
yeah.
Another business in the.
As you say, people are, they don't want any space.
Councillor Juice?
Yeah, I think a second shop is probably good.
Yeah.
It's not near the residents of Priory Avenue, you know, they're
Yeah.
far away, they're used to it, so I'm happy to support.
Yeah.
Parking.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting a favour to support this application, could I get a proposal, please? Councillor Lester, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Stainport, could we go to the vote, please? That's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is 6.6, which is 38-25-0102 LB, which is listed building consent works, replacement of sash windows with UPVC at 60 Trail Road, Taunton. Interesting. Could we get up the typical detail? Would be great. And then we'll go into the heritage statement after, please. Okay, so go down a little bit. Okay, if we go into the heritage statement as well, great. Just trying to get my head around where number 60 Trial Road is. That'll work. So that's on the way to Queens, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just near the roundabout, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Did they say as their conclusion? Councillor Twos.
Yeah, I think, unless I'm wrong, I might be wrong, that this statement is this a statement from a privately hired heritage company? Have any of the officers from the county council commented yet, Marcus? I couldn't see what I recognise as an officer's comment.
I'll be truly honest, with a listed property in the years I've been working heritage, being a listed property, and especially if the outside is listed, going from a listed glass or a fitting, whether that's sash windows, you know, my opinion, you know, when you buy these old properties and you've got really old sash windows that have been in there with, say, English oak or something like that, you know, everybody's love to put in UPVC, but I think that's part of keeping our heritage, you know, actually altering to make it more efficient. Marcus?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I was just going to say the officer that's been assigned it is the heritage planning specialist at Somerset, Kerry Peterson. So I'm sure that as part of the process and weighing it up at the end, she will bring her expertise to bear.
Councillor Stainport?
Mr. Chair, if just looking at the summary at the end, it does state complying with local planning policies. So I suspect whatever replacement sash window, whatever type of window, because I know they have to make it look similar to the original sash windows, as long as it complies with policies and the officers signed it off.
I just, yeah, in my opinion, for this is just having worked in heritage. The whole idea is if that window is listed, it's the whole idea of it's not putting back in plastic. It's about putting it, either you put a brand new sash window in wood to match what is there existing. I think, in my opinion, just having had experience is I really agree with that myself. But councillor Tibbs?
Well, that was what I was getting from you, Chair. I'm not sure. I couldn't. I'm not an expert, so I wouldn't like to say if this is allowed or not allowed.
So with sash windows, the whole idea, the very thin bits of glass, so condensate, let a lot of air in. But what you can do, which is not a big job, but obviously I was a person who's actually sufficient of a job, they can add intermittent strips in to actually make it more efficient. But really having an old property that's listed anyway, you inherit this. You can't just councillor Staple.
The only thing I would then like to raise, Chair, is at the end of the summary, they actually talk about the fact that it is in synergy with neighbouring identical works. Now, I suspect there may have been works done to similar buildings next door, and they probably have the exact same windows. So this might be a case of them questioning, well, previous planning has allowed the neighbours, it's within planning policies. We might not agree with putting UPVC in versus sash windows into old buildings, but if planning policies are that they can, and if the neighbouring property has, then I think we need to just be mindful of that.
Yeah, what I would say from experience only 12 months ago, whether or not neighbouring properties have done it doesn't always mean it's been done right. Like King Square in Bridgewater, they put double Romans on a roof, the whole of King Square slate roof, and even listed buildings said, well, they'll struggle to pass that when they actually want to sell it due to it being the wrong tiles, and they've obviously done it at cost. So I don't agree with it, but obviously if listed buildings have council Tibbs.
But yeah, I mean, I think it needs, generally needs to be done. But if the applicant is employed or asked recruited Architectural One to do the report, then Architectural One will say exactly what the client wants them to say, won't they? Or is that not the case? What I would prefer is to defer to the Somerset Heritage Officer and their opinion. But
That's what I do.
if that's what you're saying, Marcus, that they will look at it eventually, is that what you were saying earlier? Or not?
They've already looked at it.
Oh, they've already looked at it.
Well, no, I was saying that the name of the officer is the conservation officer.
Yeah.
That's been assigned to adjudicate on this application. So I presume using her experience and knowledge of the various policies, that they will come to adjudication, and the councils could just make that as a comment, just if you're not certain which direction you wish to go.
Yeah. Like I say, if I'm saying my own comments, I would support this application because at the end of the day it needs to be done. But I would probably prefer it in a timber that actually matches what was there originally. You can still put double glazing in a timber sash window, but I just think if we start agreeing on PVC on listed building, that's my only comment. My only comment would be design and appearance impact on public visual amenity, just the material. But I don't know. Councillor Staple and Councillor Tibbs.
Yeah, just one last comment, Chair. I think if we go into the design and access heritage statement and look at the pictures, you'll actually, if you expand the pictures, you'll see the neighbouring property upstairs is all UPVC. And so is the house next to that again. If these have been done recently, these all have gone through planning, in which case if they have accepted planning with it and it's within planning legislation, very difficult for us to refuse it.
It doesn't look old either. The dormers particularly, they're all squared off.
I think it says that the adjacent property previously without application replaced all existing space.
That happens a lot.
Then we leave it then to the.
Yeah, you will leave it.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
Jen, you know, hope they follow suit. Like a lot of people try to replace with wood because, you know, it keeps the character of the houses. So it's expensive and of course it keeps you in work as well.
I go to the office.
It was a listed building when they bought it.
Yeah.
So getting a feel from the room supports the application, but I would like to add that material. I would like to see the heritage property go back to a timber, even if it is going to be double glazed. I would prefer them to match the material. But if it is,
Can you be saying that you support the replacement of the window with UPVC, but then you would want the material to not be UPVC? It would be better just make a comment. I'm just thinking whether you can say you support it.
Refer it to.
well, what we can, Councillor Furman?
Yeah, I was just saying, probably worth proposing a neutral.
Yeah.
Say, you know, going on what you said, probably best to use but
Just
yeah,
just the timber.
oh, timber, sorry, but yeah, also refer to the Somerset Heritage Officer to see what they say.
Yeah, that would be nice. Go to the officers.
What Councillor Furman said, you hit the nail on the head.
Exactly that. You get all of that.
So just sustaining what Councillor Furman said, we get a feel that we're going to say exactly what Councillor Furman's just said.
Have to watch the video back. Yeah, write that down.
Right. Could I get help, Councillor Two?
So just checking whether we're supporting this or we're putting it through as, what are we?
Just make a comment.
Right, okay.
Neutral with comment.
Could I get a proposer, please? Councillor Furman. Could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lester. Can we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Should have proposed it, shouldn't we?
I'd like to apologise for if I wasn't clear with what I was trying to say.
No, you should have missed it. It was perfect, but I can't
We've
know.
already wrote it up, mate. It's too late. Okay, the next item is full planning permission. Erection of a single story extension to the front and rear of Conifers, New Road, Tron. This is the road going down.
This might be the one that.
Existing and proposed plans, please, at the bottom.
What's the number again?
Sorry, is 42-25-0009. If we go back, then we'll look at the elevations. Single story front and rear elevation, that one. You look at positive, because when I'm looking at the screen, these are the positives, one of you hand up. So just extending out the back.
It goes right up against the fence. And
If I look on the floor plan again, that'd be great, just to clarify on this first. Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be an increase in the extra bedroom, lounge.
It's not going to talk. It's not. This is the plot, is it?
Can we get this up on Google Maps as well?
It's on a private road.
Private road, okay. No worries. That's fine. Do we have any comments on this application? Councillor Two?
I don't think this is going to disturb or shut out or overhang. That's what I wrote down. So
Yeah.
I'm reasonably happy. It's quite an extensive thing, both sides has, but I think given its setting and there's no objections from the neighbours as yet, so.
Wouldn't suppose this had probably been done on adjacent neighbours as well. Councillor Stapleton?
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, having looked at this, there's plenty of garden space. It's a single story. It's not buttoned up against any direct boundaries. I don't see it being a problem.
Okay, so hearing from the comments to support this application, could I get a proposer, please? Councillor Lester, could I get any seconder, please? Councillor Tooth, can we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is 6.8, which is 38-24-0396, which is retention of building works, etc. Erection of extension to provide storage space for restaurant and enclosure of paved area at 16 Herringate, Taunton. Retention of works already undertaken. So, what restaurant is it?
Masala, something.
Yeah, Taunton Sala, is it?
All you can eat place.
Yes, Herringate, sorry.
We had this before. I was going to say, is this the one that where they've built a sort of
Yeah, they've got like
a plastic box on the back?
The box that we still
It's that buffet now, isn't it? Councillor Thorne?
yes, no, we looked at this previously, and this is where they sort of built like a temporary kind of wooden storage, and they wanted to make it more permanent. So, if
Marcus?
Yes, thank you, Chair. We did comment on this back in December and said that you had submitted comments that material considerations number 10, other reason members were concerned whether the materials and structure proposed are sufficient to meet national planning regulations.
When was it?
the wooden bits on it.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was basically made of 32 and plastic sheeting.
Was.
That's why I couldn't remember it, because I wasn't there.
We do remember it.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
Is it changed, Marcus?
That was the one I did.
So what does it look like now?
We,
They've submitted revised plans.
if we have a look at the revised, that'd be great.
Got retrospective in here as well, so
Don't know. I think that the original planning was retrospective anyway.
I know this is why I'm getting confused whether this is new retrospective
Yeah,
planning
they
or
done something else and now.
exactly.
Story,
Yes.
Have they?
So what was there originally then? Was it like a temporary,
just.
Looked
I
like
think
it
they
was-
just did it, Chair, without any, I think, be careful what I say, I don't know that, but it looks like they've employed somebody to, yeah.
I can't staple?
Actually, the original picture showed something that was quite a lot of exposed wood and sort of not much brickwork, and yeah, it wasn't. We wouldn't have said it would have stood up to planning regulations. That was what we questioned at the time. This looks like the real deal.
Yeah, looks like someone's actually drawn it.
Yeah.
Because I remember it being photographs as well last time.
Just have a look at this last one. Thank you, Mel.
Using with the materials, so it's
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
yeah, 'cause it was just that.
Marcus?
Just looking at the design and access statement that's been submitted on behalf of Somerset Staff from the Minister of Protection, it says the applicant is aware that they breached planning control in starting to erect the extension. However, they did so believing that as effectively as any breach structure this was permitted only. To rectify that breach by applying planning consent to complete the extension with appropriate material in keeping with the existing structure.
It was on this. Have a look
Yeah, the picture you just
Go
had,
down.
didn't you?
and
There it
zoom
is.
in. There it is. To
Yeah.
the left hand side.
It's
It's
the
just
OSB board box.
a
Was
bit of
it
plywood and a plastic door.
Yeah, it's not very in keeping.
Guessing the new application is going to be a little bit
Yeah,
different.
hopefully.
You know, with this restaurant, they can obviously have. I can see a massive need for an improvement there. But the thing is, with this property, obviously there's a need for this for sure. That's why they've had to do it.
Yeah.
We didn't disagree with that.
So, you know, for me, they require, you know, an architect obviously, to actually do it right. Councillor Twos?
Yeah, I didn't get to finish this one last night, Chair. There was a comment from Rights of Way officer. Is it in concurrence with what they're doing, or is there a path down the side there that should be kept?
Thanks, Chair. There is a comment from a rights of way officer called Lauren Eldridge that says that they object on reviewing the planning objection because it overhangs into the public footpath T32-4. The cladding will project 40 millimetres into the width of the footpath, and we require this to be flush with the wall. We wish to see revised drawings showing a flush construction with the existing wall. Also, there are some blue containers located along the footpath at the bottom of the wall, which should be removed to avoid obstructions its width of the path.
So really,
Yeah.
so really the best thing to do, if that is the case, is to object on the application, but add additional like an additional comment. Obviously, we can do it down on, say, the design. You know, even if there's a render finish or brick finish, you know, it would actually look better if it was brick, so it would match the rest of the property. Yeah. Is there material?
Taken off, that's pretty long.
Yeah, no, I think that
Just design appearance, but probably should remember stage layout density. I guess we could do that. Something too. That's good. Yeah. So number 7, and also.
they're saying it's just overhanging the wall.
Just on.
Okay, so
Think about it.
I would kind of come to a conclusion on this, to object on this application, but comment on number 7, which is highway, but also as an additional other reason to, you know, match the existing property, which would be brick, which would then answer the objection to be flush. Would
Yeah.
be, you know, finished, so they wouldn't have the issue with the highways then.
Yeah.
I think that's what we could probably add to this. Do I have any more comments on this?
No, I agree.
I agree, Chair, as long as it is, like, it doesn't impinge on the footpath, that's.
I can understand why they're probably looking to add it, it's because it's an existing building there, all they've got to do is it's an easy job, but actually, you know, from the objections coming from highways.
Yeah. I suspect the original extension is flush and the cladding is what's actually protruding.
Exactly. Yeah. What normally happens, you've got about a 20 mm clad,
Yeah.
and then when they go on top of each other, you've got double thickness in
Yeah.
those areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so on that point, with those points raised, could I get a proposal, please? Councillor Stainford, could I get a second, please? Councillor Twos, could we go to the vote, please? That's carried, thank you very much. The next item is 6.9, which is 38-25-0107, which is for planning permission, erection of a 2-storey extension to the side, erection of a porch to the front, and alteration to access and formation of parking area at 3 Deane Drive, Taunton. If we have a look at the existing elevations, which is third from the bottom. Okay, so. And then if we go on the proposed elevations. It's the front porch. Going out to the left as well.
With the park, with the entrance, was. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. When you look at the street view, they're trying. It was the moved access.
Space.
Yeah, like it was.
You go on Google Maps of this as well. Just look at the formation where actually it's situated.
I think originally they have a problem with the access.
Yeah,
Yeah, remember
there was, with this one, we've seen some,
Councillor Lester and Councillor Staple.
I think, we saw this one a few meetings ago. And there was an issue
Yes.
with the access for the drive, I seem to remember, was with one of the things that we identified. I can't remember what we decided, but I do recall there being an issue with the drive,
Yeah.
which it looks like they've changed the plan.
Yes.
Councillor Staple.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, exactly what Councillor Lester said. The original plan, they hadn't widened the driveway, and there wasn't actually enough room for two cars to actually move in and out. They had pictures of 2 cars, but only enough space for one access, which would have made problems coming in and out of the driveway. So it looks like they've widened the existing driveway, re-landscaped, and that's, I mean, it's a big plot. I don't think there's any problem with
No problem with the actual extension.
No, it was the access that was the problem when I last looked at it.
Yeah, I do agree.
So I'm quite happy with that.
And yeah, like what they're doing.
Mm.
More and more people are actually doing more and more to their house to actually stay in the area now.
It's lovely.
And they've obviously looked at the access points. What's the highway? So that's just comments from highways. So it's just no's.
Minimum distance.
Yeah, I think if they've looked at the access getting in, like you say, the porch and the extension doesn't seem any issues at all. I'm right in saying actually on that plot anyway, there's plenty of room there. So,
It's a big plot.
yeah.
It was just the access.
Any more comments there? Okay, so to support this application, could I get a proposer? Councillor Stainport. Could I get a seconder? Councillor Lester. Could we go to the vote, please? Carried. Thank you very much. The next item, 6.0, which is 38-25-0123-CMA. Class MA notification. Application to determine if prior approval is required for change of use and conversion from commercial, business and service use class E into a one dwelling class C3 at 2 South Street, Taunton. I think we've looked at this.
I don't know if it's relevant or not, because I don't think they're looking for planning permission, are they? They're just looking to see if it's about change of usage, but I did want to flag up that the square footage doesn't meet the technical requirements for space. So technical requirements say that a 2-bedroom, 4-person sleeper over a 2-story space should be 79 square foot, and I think this is 50 and a half. Is very, very small.
Yes. I remember we may have spoken about this in the past. I think works have actually been undertaken anyway. And also could we have a look at the detail floor plan? Elevation would be great. I remember it's right next to a garage as well. I think on that account then, with that information, I think that kind of says enough. You know, if it's too small, it's too small. Marcus?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just on, I know there was a query raised last time about class MA notification and whether it was appropriate to make comments. I have circulated a note via the Teams planning committee chat, but I did do some digging, and apparently if a class MA notification is successful, then a full planning application is not normally required. But there are some caveats about that, whether it also fully complies with the general permitted development order. So my advice would be to submit your comments at each opportunity that you're given an opportunity to. Chair.
Councillor Toos?
If I understand right, what we're saying here is if we say they do need to get planning permission, then it will go back around. Is that what you're saying, Marcus? They've met, as the chair said, as Councillor Solly says, that this has happened, it's there, it's up already on South Street, it's been there since the last time we looked at it. So are we saying that we can comment saying they need to reduce the number of rooms, or are we saying we just need to decide whether they need to get pre-approval or not?
I think you could comment on the wider issue as well, as saying that, see, yeah, commenting on whether, because I think that's really a technical aspect that the planning officer will hopefully comment on in terms of whether they need to get approval. But if this kind of education is successful, then they may not need to make a full planning application. So if you don't make those comments about the room sizes now, and then there's not a full planning application, then it's almost a bit like a missed opportunity.
Just leave it.
Yeah, and also, I don't know whether we can also add that works have actually been undertaken. Because actually, says the town council, I think that's, good to put those comments in to go forward, because, really until it's been done, shouldn't have been done. So I think that's responsible of us to be said on that, council.
I would make one comment that, because it's just very near to me, like the building before was terrible. It was a decrepit, run-down shop that, it was just an eyesore. So, the planning committee, so we have to follow the rules. But what they've done here is they should have done it the proper way and as before, but they have improved it, if you see what I mean. That's fair comment.
Okay, so really, councillor Stainthorpe, sorry.
Next year. Yeah, I think part of the problem goes back to what we've seen before, is the plan actually itself is very misleading. Looking at the space around the beds, the supposed wardrobes that they put in, which actually are the same width as a single door, which means it's not a double wardrobe, but it looks like it is because it's got 2 doors on it. Yeah, to me, it's an improvement in the building. So yes, as being an apartment, yes, but the simple thing would have been to have, say, possibly a single bedroom and a double bedroom, because then the square footage probably would. Was it still not?
It's still
So a single double room, like a double room.
So the regulations for a 1-bedroom, 2-person is still bigger than this footprint. So it's 58 square meters.
where you look at it, it's got a tiny bar.
I know, bathroom you can.
You're backing in now, aren't you?
I'm backing. Even I'm backing in there.
Yeah.
What did we do?
Sorry.
So what you're saying is that it wouldn't even be suitable for a single dwelling as such.
So the guidance does give, there are separations between 1-story dwellings and 2-story dwellings. If it was a 1-story dwelling, which was for a 1-bedroom, 2 people, so a single bedroom, a single double bedroom, then it would be 50 square metre, which would be seen as being, suitable. But over 2 stories, the expectation is that it should be 58 square metres, and there is a standard around a 1 double or twin bedroom. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong bit. In order to provide 2 bed spaces, so a double or twin, it has to have a floor area of at least 11.5 square metres.
Okay, so really, as a committee, all councillors.
Sorry, then just to round that off, looking at that there is a comment from Highways as well, or somebody, to say the bin and cycle store are not included within the red line, so it's unclear if this is actually could be on third-party land. So that's another thing to add to.
It's been a lot of issues.
Just to clarify what the officer is saying, does that mean if this will just, is this against the law? So it won't go through anyway? Is that what the rules say? Was it a recommendation?
I'm not entirely sure. So the the document that I'm citing is the gov.uk, so this is the documentation that social housing has to fall under. I don't know in terms of legality, obviously the planning department would know that for a fact, but it doesn't meet any of the technical requirements that are laid out in it.
Okay, so
The answer is yes, it
I
does.
think there's a lot of red tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think on that account, I think really to object on this, but I think also adding comments. So for the layout and density of the building, being up to regulations and size. Also, right in saying number 6, which would be more servicing areas, which like the bins. Yeah, no, would put bins, which could be on third party land, which makes sense.
Bins are trespassing.
Would there be any more comments on that, or are you happy with that? So just to confirm, that would be the layout and density of the building with those comments, and then number 6, which would be servicing areas. Okay, so to get a proposal on that, please. Councillor Furman, could I get a second there? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? That's carried. Thank you very much. The next item, which is the last, no, it's not, of this part, 6.11, which is 38-25-0119-LEW, which is S191 existing lawful development, which is in brackets WB. That application for a lawful development certificate for the existing erection of a single-storey extension to the rear of 78 Cyril Street West, Taunton. Marcus?
Thank you, Chair. Just a brief remark on
I think
these.
it's ready for
This
the
has
questions.
actually come across before, since we've been looking at the planning committee meeting. Ollie, we're looking at this a couple of weeks ago, and as I understand it, if there's information that you believe as a ward council or as a committee that would go against what the application has been put forward, then the local planning authority would take account of any of those submissions. But as just general comments, my understanding is that it's not taken into account in the same way that your comments on other applications are. I think the wording, the guidance from the government said that the comments from town and parish councils was considered irrelevant. So it's just if I think it's about thinking about it in a way that if you have any evidence which contradicts what's been submitted, then that would be important to bring up and discuss. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any more? Is there any comments on this application? You know after that. Let's have a look at the site photo anyway.
It's not confusing.
Does that mean you just stick up the buildings and?
Councillor Lester?
Just to clarify the wording then, they put the extension up without planning.
No plan.
Is that what? But our opinion on that doesn't matter. I'm just trying to understand what you said, Marcus. I wasn't completely
Yeah.
clear on.
That's why are we looking at it if we can?
Yeah.
I mean,
Marcus?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So I'm just going to try and bring up the note that I had on it. So yeah, it's a formal procedure under the Town and Country Planning Act, where a local planning authority can will establish that an existing use of the buildings or land is lawful. So they will then issue a certificate. I'm not sure in this specific example whether this is one that has been built and that they're seeking.
I see. I kept just reading down the justification. It said they thought it was within permitted development and later found out that it wasn't.
oh, it'd be the size, possibly.
Yeah,
It's not that big.
25
I probably
years.
thought it was in, if it's within 2 meters, it's,
Usually it was 10.
I was going to say 25
Yes.
years ago. If no one's complained so
Yeah.
far, then
I get it now.
let's get it now. I understand now.
Yeah, I was saying it built from 2007, 2008, 18 years ago.
It hasn't fallen down. It's probably fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think really us having any comments on this at all is rather
Yeah. Yeah, I understand the point.
we'll go back to the future and go back.
Yeah.
It's fine, but no, okay. Well, so we can comment on this. Okay.
Conjuring.
Yes, we can just move on to the next application then, is it, or do we need to
have to vote.
add something to this?
Yeah, I mean.
No opinion.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, has this come forward because they're trying to sell the property or something? Did someone say why this has suddenly
Somebody,
come across our desks after whatever year?
Yeah. Good point.
18 years old.
It could be down on that, or yeah, they just built it.
It's come from a search or something, hasn't
Yeah, some's come up somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, going on to the next one, which is to comment on licensing matters received from the local licensing authority, which is consider applications for street trading consent submitted for consultation, which is 7.1, which is MA-59467, which is premises license grant application for the food warehouse, Fields, Taunton. Yes,
There were no attachments in this application. The Iceland place.
Yeah, the Icelandic type place.
there's no attachments to this.
They made the comment on the signage. haven't they?
Yeah. Yeah. It's Priory Fields again.
Yeah.
Where Dunelm.
Oh,
But this is
So do we, apart from
New York.
the license, do we know what they're licensing for?
Look, but
Is it premises license?
Yeah.
Premises.
yeah.
Be for alcohol.
It's food, and I'm guessing they possibly sell alcohol as well. 'Cause it's food.
Well, no,
It's a supermarket-y type
Yeah, it is.
food outlet.
was that
So
the other half of Dunelm?
no,
Is it another one?
It's the first one, I think.
yeah,
That used to be.
I say it was. Oh, what was it? Capital right? No, that's what it was all up.
Did like,
Came-
so obviously we haven't got any information, but I don't know as a committee if you want to receive more information going forward on this. That could be our comment on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think really, yes, fair enough. We're putting a purposes license forward.
Years of food,
So yeah, I was just checking, there's no
you know what I mean?
information on the email they sent us, or it's not on the recent license applications either.
Yeah, well, I personally would like, obviously not object or accept, but put a neutral, just to ask for a comment on more information.
I found something, I think. Iceland Food Unit 2 Pro.
Yeah.
Fields. Yeah. There is a document online, so I've just found. So the last day for representations is the 12th. Well, the activities applied for is supply of alcohol, off sales only, Monday to Sunday from midnight, well, all 24 hours until 11:59.
It will not say
There's no further information, but it is an alcohol sales license application. There are some factors for licensing factors you need to consider when looking at premises license. I'll just get them up if you have them in 2 seconds.
That'd be great, yeah. Is there any comments on this? That's sustainable.
Yeah, I think on the licensing. Oops, it's not working.
There you go, you're green again.
I'm green again, good. I think on the licensing with alcohol, they can't sell Sundays after they have to close certain times, don't they? In terms of alcohol sales. Yes, because when Tesco's it was 24 hours, they had to shut, I think. 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, the alcohol sales to a certain time. Sunday, there's certain licensing laws, I think, that are in place for alcohol sales after certain times on certain days.
Yeah.
Possibly, maybe we'll do what, just checking out, I don't think it's 24/7.
Go with Marcus and we'll pass back to the council too.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't comment on the but I would imagine it would be subject to Sunday trading.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sunday
yeah.
trading laws,
Unless it's like.
because Tesco's wasn't,
Expressive on.
yeah, Tesco's it used to be 24 hours, couldn't.
Sorry, the 4 licensing objectives are the prevention of crime and disorder, the protection of public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm.
Okay. Councillor Twos and Councillor Tully.
Yeah, it's slightly different premises and type thing, but we did. I'm not sure if we did, but recently the garage on Priory Avenue, which is just a little bit up, we objected to that being 24/7 to come in line with the Tesco on East Reach. So just need to make sure because the residents on Priory Avenue will say that we stopped Asda coming, not because they wanted it, but because we did. We made sure that they came to an arrangement on the hours, whereas if just up the road, we're going to allow someone, but it's slightly different, but I think we need to be consistent. So I'd be hesitant we are granting a license for 24 hours. I would be cautious about that.
Councillor Tully.
This is a premises license, and it's slightly different nowadays than the licensing laws, because you have a premises license saying you can have alcohol there, but the actual hours they sell it comes under the personal license.
Okay.
To be honest, because I'm not sure of the information, I would be reluctant to make any yes or no decision and just defer it, Chair. Yeah. That's okay with me, obviously it's not mine.
Any more comments?
Michael.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, I'd probably agree on that actually, to defer this.
We can ask them for further information.
Yeah, how about that? We can get some more information, that'd be more helpful. Yeah, because I think that's probably the best way. So yeah, if we could comment, for more information, then that would be helpful. Could I get a proposal on that, please? Councillor Tully, could I get a seconder? Councillor Twos, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much. Submission of comments, feedback on behalf of the town council to notifications or planning applications in the area. There's a few that we pulled out. Total 3. You start on the first one, which is 38-24-0280, which is full planning permission, erection of 3-storey apartment building, comprised of 9 number of apartments with associated works on land at 52 to 56 Upper High Street, Taunton. Good to actually find out which building this actually is.
Is that's not the plot by the church, is it?
Yeah,
Just
that
that
last
strip.
That's got
Yeah,
no entrance.
It's
It's just
going to come forward because if they change the lights. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, but between the traffic lights and the Methodist church.
just
Yeah.
goes in.
Crikey.
I mean, there's nothing there.
No, it's not freezing.
Well, they're not going to try and squeeze that in there, are they?
I'm not sure where it is. I wouldn't quote.
No, yeah, maybe we can look at.
Just trying to get my location around where that's.
It's a lot.
There's a little piece of there's a little patch of land that's literally as you look coming
No.
out of Ivory Park. It's on the left hand side before the Methodist church. It's not there, is it? That can't be big enough for
No,
that.
because that's not. This is on the high street, and I
Oh,
know what
sorry.
this is. It's that building that's empty as you come up towards Ivory Park. There's the big building on the. It's a 52 to 56. I think it's that. It's empty. It's been lying empty for a while. Let's have a look.
No,
Um,
I'm lost now.
top of the high street. From this end angle, it would be on the right hand side, just as you went to opposite Ivory Park. That building there's empty.
Oh, is it the red brick one?
Yeah,
Just
that's-
Erection. This is a new building, isn't it? It's
So-
an erection of the building.
But it says on land at
High Street.
52 to 56. So I don't see anywhere empty. Is it?
Floor was a good lot. Yeah, I think so. Also look at a few columns. Existing site plan.
Elevation.
Right.
Yes.
So yes, I recognise that.
Oh, I know where you are, yeah.
So they're probably going to demolish it.
It's the old,
The solicitors.
Job centre. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, there.
Yeah, I know you're that now.
It's not that just that little bit there, is it?
is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, it's not that bit of scrub, is it?
Yeah.
No, it looks like that area, because you got they got the solicitors and then
Can we just go
the high street.
I can see it now. If you go back to that picture, sets are.
It's not High Street, it's
Go
on.
back and forth.
Yeah.
Just sign off.
Sorry to be a pain on it.
Yeah, it's been-
So if you have a look, the picture at the right
Yeah,
hand
you're
side
right.
of the bottom, that's pretty much on the lines.
Yeah.
Advisories. And a little bit along is obviously this building.
That's,
Upper High Street.
yeah.
So yeah, it is.
So it is the piece of land that's on the strikes.
But it goes behind that as well, doesn't it? Like where the,
Does it
it
cut back?
used to be the job centre, is that?
No,
Job centre
No.
still there.
it's still there.
One's right behind, so it's, no, it's that bit of scrub.
And then we'll have a look at the floor plan.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
If I'm right in saying they've started clearing. that.
No, it's been cleared.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been,
It's quite a big space.
it's been,
Well,
but it's not.
it's
very
not
big.
nine, it's not 9 apartments.
It's not very big,
I know it's only 3 on each floor probably, but
unless it's about 10 floors high.
'cause I've been wondering what they were going to put on it, to be honest. Every time I drive past it on the way home from work.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we have a look at the floor plan, first floor plan. It's frontal, it's got a little.
First floor,
Is
second
it
floor.
9?
There's got to be a ground floor somewhere further
Three on
down.
each floor.
There we go.
Yeah, so really right at the bottom of that screen, that's
Yeah.
right, that's the main road, pretty much.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
So
so
there's a pavement.
pretty much looking at the layout, so you've got, if you go up a little bit, sorry. Living. One
Bedrooms only have beds.
bathroom. So there's a 2-bedroom flat there. Right, there's a 1-bedroom flat in the middle. And then there's another 2-bedroom on the left. First floor, you've got
Same range.
a 2-bedroom,
It's stacked three, it's the same arrangement 3
Exactly.
times, I think.
so it's 3 flats per floor. Really.
Yeah. And then is there a lower ground with the bin store
Yeah.
on it, but at the back?
Lower ground,
Yeah.
so they've got a bin store,
Fine.
a bin store, bike shed. Pretty much. They've covered the.
And it's like literally the entire plot is
Round.
wall to wall, isn't it? It's,
Yeah.
they maximise the space.
That's stable.
Bedrooms look very small.
I was
But
gonna say,
there's no.
there's no
bedroom
dimension.
furniture
Oh,
in
there we
there.
go. They're all too small, aren't they? According
And
to you?
also,
No,
what is the
single
square
story.
footage for on these and, oh, yeah, look.
Yeah.
So they'll do.
I don't know if they count as single story or not,
No,
because
I think they would because each dwelling, I think so.
I think they would all just about scrape it, but I would be interested to see on the plan the actual measurement of the bedroom itself, because you've got one regulation around the living space as a whole, and then another regulation that says the bedroom itself has to be 11.5 square meters to be considered an iron.
Those bedrooms look tiny.
They
look-
do, they look
Yeah,
very,
They've only got a bed in them, nothing else.
yeah.
My first thought, at the end of the day, I think the space of land that's, well, it's been derelict for years. It's actually great that somebody's wanting to do something with the land, but what we don't want to get screwed up in is really tight living. Obviously there is regs, but I would be more, just density of the building really.
Yeah.
Just the density and the layout of the building, I personally think, you know, if it was split
Two on
more
each
into
floor.
6, if it was 6 flats.
6 flats, not 9, yeah.
In my personal opinion, the layout would be a lot more achievable and better.
I feel it sound like a stuck record, but they're just too small. I mean, I know what the regulations say, but you know, you can't live in somewhere like that. You can exist somewhere maybe. And I know the regs are the regs, but, and I know maybe as a planning committee, we're supposed to pay attention to that, but we want nicer places for people to live and actually live.
That's simple.
I would like to know the regs on the size of the bedroom.
Yeah, that's
That is
true.
the-
That's a good point.
And I think that's really important for us to know space going forward, because this is one that comes up regularly. And so if you could find out, that would be super.
Is there any more, is there any, comments?
They've only got the total square meter.
Michael Evans comment? Been quite a few comments, isn't there? If we have a look at, view. Okay. On A, High Street, form the High Street, in my opinion, those buildings are far too high.
There's no
Big for the site, will do now to a.
pavement road. I know that. It's a town centre. Yeah.
It's the same on the other side.
No, I agree. I think I know.
You can't object that unless it's cyclist doors.
I'm delighted they're building it. It's just, it's always this, it feels like it's the cramming it in, the profit rather than,
Yeah.
rather than anything else.
There's a point, this application, where that road, having them just done some highway work, on the new zebra crossing,
Mhm.
when those lights are at a standstill, traffic backs.
Yeah, it does.
pretty much all the way back to Manor Drive,
Yeah, it does.
even back to the Tesco's.
Yeah, it does.
And to actually not have any pull-in for somebody who have deliveries and all that, I think there's a really good point there. For example, servicing areas or adequate parking, there doesn't seem to be. And you think that's nine flats, possibly 18 people living there. How are you gonna get a double bed? How are you gonna get, and that's right on the junction. That can't be any more than 100 meters before that crossing.
No,
So that's what.
So yeah, on your point about the traffic, I mean, I use that road coming in and out of town every day. And it's single yellow lines at the moment past the pedestrian crossing towards the church on the right. And if anyone parks there, it doesn't matter for how long, it just causes chaos, because once you get two wide vehicles staring at one another, you're kind of crawling.
And I think with what's going on, I think personally, design appearance, but the layout density of the building, but also the inadequate parking and servicing areas, and even access. If there was for example, if there was a fire or a need of an ambulance, I think if anything, there should be an area where you can park or at least get off the road safely to get into these cast stable.
Yet you even thinking about something as simple as somebody moving into one of the apartments. Where are you going to put all the furniture in it? There is nowhere. It would become dangerous on that stretch of road.
Can we get that also? Let's look at the plans again, because there must be a stairwell, and I missed it. I don't.
It's right in the middle.
Was it? It's going through the middle.
Straight through the centre.
I'll take your word for it. It was just I was looking at the flats and that was like it didn't
It's easy to miss.
I think personally on what we've seen, Marcus.
Yeah, sorry, Joe, I was just going to say they have mentioned in their transport statement about delivery vehicles. And they've said that as with service vehicles, deliveries would be made in the same way with vehicles pulling up along the edge of the carriageway, no different to that which occurs with the other properties located along Upper High Street.
But what I will come back to that is that
they were built
those
for cars.
properties were built for cars,
Yeah.
so they don't have a choice.
We would-
In my opinion, and the amount of cars that are actually on the road now, these people still live in these houses with literally a pavement outside their main road. I think with the way of the world of how many cars there are on the road now, I think that there has to be a bit of thought on even getting off the road. That's sustainable.
And Chair, just on that stretch of road, even a sample as simple as when if there's a problem on the M5, the traffic problems. And just now we're facing the situation where they're going to get closing in junction 26. So there's going to be a lot more traffic coming through Taunton, which has to go along that road.
Yeah.
And that road is a vital link road through Taunton.
Yeah.
Any obstructions on it causes massive problems.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think going back on our comments this evening, I think we're probably incorrect in saying number 2, which is design and appearance. I think number 3, which is layout density of the building. I'd probably say reduce down to 6, just to give a better lifestyle of people actually living in there, and also visual amenity. And also I'd say number 6, which is an adequate parking or servicing area, due to the high volume of vehicles, and and the access to highway safety or traffic generation. There's quite a few points there.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody had any other points they wanted to raise.
The key ones as well.
Are you all on board with that?
Just comments or objections?
Yes, because in objection of that many points, I'll probably say. So on that point, to object with those points, could I get a proposal, please? Councillor Staple, could I get a seconder? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? 5 votes for, and then 1. Could we go on the next item, which is 38-25-0074, which is full planning permission. Demolition of part of an agricultural buildings and alteration to remaining buildings at Whitmore Farm, Whitmore Lane, Staple Grove. Right, it's saying this is the one that's just burnt now.
No, that's a different one from this list.
I always get so confused. So photographs would be a great start, I think. Just get a feel. Buildings, to be honest. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's been used for a very, very long time. Okay, if we go back at the proposed. To remaining building. Proposed. Those elevation drawings. To be honest, it looks like it's just updating what was there. I don't see any issues at all with this.
No.
Still an agricultural setting. So, is there any other comments on this?
Agricultural build, so
Support this. Could I get a proposal, please? Councillor Furman, could I get a seconder? Councillor Stainford, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you. The next one is 38-20-0117 which is retention of building works. Demolition of single story extension to create additional external trading area, installation of external fire escape staircase, internal alterations to provide 2 number of bedrooms for staff accommodation at Winchester Arms, Castle Green, Taunton.
I think we highlighted this one, didn't we, Chair, just because we're realising that building 2, which is a building when, as a council committee taking on, obviously, very close joins the Winchester Arms, so it's likely worth taking it closer look, even though it is retrospectives.
Be some comments. If we have a look at the photo sheets first, which fall from the bottom. At the existing ground. Internal training area, insulation or escape, internal filtration by 2 bedrooms, and staff accommodation. What a building there, isn't it?
It's a bit,
I don't think I've ever been inside, so.
I have.
yeah, it's,
I went to a phone party there about 30 years ago. Before he shut the first time.
it's still in the, but when they reopened it, it's just, you know, some of the features are still pretty good.
We have a look at the, say, proposed elevations, please. Is this a listed building as well?
Thought it would have been, but.
I think it is. So I think we looked at this.
Because weirdly enough, from the rear property,
Old building.
which is the south elevation, it doesn't look it doesn't look as grand as it does on the north elevation.
But you can't see the south end.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen the back.
That's what you want.
Well, the south is what you see when you go past it from the bus station.
Oh, is it?
But that's why they've made it.
Oh, it is.
Really not-
It is
not-
grade 2 listed.
It is great.
That's-
So it'd be interesting, obviously, have they got their listed building works application in on this? Because obviously what we're looking at right now would be attention. But it'd be interesting to see if listed buildings has even had a. There's a grade 2 listed building, possibly, yeah, don't know whether that might have an impact. Is an interesting lesson too that has been considerably altered and extended since its construction. By nature of the location and it's part of the long history of Winchester, Armsbourne and Portland history. Prominent building within the conservation area, therefore the principal facade contributes significantly. Pointing to removal the modern external ventilation grills and concrete piles for the existing hanging signage will enhance this elevation. Removal of modern side extension, replacement of asphalt surface with stone paving, proposed external repointing will have a positive impact on the heritage. The other external proposals are very limited in the amount of these are confined to the side and rear parts of the building, do not disturb the ground and shielded from public view. Therefore, the proposals have no impact on the conservation area of public realm. Also, it all sounds pretty good. It's like they're putting it back to how it should be.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if the modern extensions were probably done at a time when.
Yes. I was having a phone party.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jared. I know the comments are made in the design heritage and access statement, which obviously been submitted by the applicant. There is a consultation response from Historic England, which has said they have concerns regarding the application on heritage grounds. And then they sort of advise the local authority to bear in mind the statutory duty of the planning Buildings and Compensations Act have special grant to this liability of preserving listed buildings or their setting or any features from which they possess. If you're saying that they are sort of
That's why I didn't.
To me, it sounds like they're ripping down what was bad. They're actually repointing what was failing. And they're actually taking away some horrible grills from what would be seen from the public realm. But really anything else that parts of the building that isn't seen, they're still appreciating the nature of the listed property. So I personally don't have any issues with this. I think they are what would be the word, they're complementing the listed property, councillor Tidd.
Is this, they've done this already, have they?
Yeah, is there some remedial work they're required to do because it's
Retrospect, I think. It's a very old application, Chair. It's like most of the stuff's from 2020, and then there's two further additions in April this year.
Then the letter came through back 27th.
I know where we are, but I can't remember what it looks like.
That dates back to what, 2020. So obviously they put works in 2020, but obviously they giving that they did.
The buildings.
Yeah, I think really going on that statement, councillor Lesson.
I was just going to say, given the how few pubs are managing to survive, I think that we need to take into account it's a pub. It's always been a pub. Most of the work they've done, I think, isn't the front facade still looks exactly as it always did, as far as I'm aware. And so, whilst I appreciate it's a listed building, actually, it is also a key business for the square. We wouldn't want it to be anything else, would we? So.
Is there any more comments on this? Councillor Staple.
Thanks, Chair. Support Councillor Lester there as well. The building itself in the historic parts will all look the exact same. There's been no change to the original old part of the building. It's where the new part of the building was, which I mean doesn't fall under that issue. So I have no problems with this at all. I think it's a better one for the building.
Marcus.
Found something.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm just having a look at the document that's been most recently submitted by Highways Development Control, and on the thing it says that the amendment is a change to description to replace holiday accommodation with staff accommodation. There's that.
So they were B&B rooms, and now they're going to have people
We're being asked to
be residents.
consult on. It's not overly clear.
So we changed the description to replace holiday accommodation, which must have been back in 2020, with staff accommodation. Well,
I think we locked down.
yeah, I think being a pub, I'd probably say it makes even more sense then again, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any more comments on that then? Thank you for that, Marcus. Okay, so I'm gonna propose this to support this. Can I do that?
You'd like to chat, aren't you?
Councillor Solly proposing, can we get a second there? Councillor Stainport, can we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thanks very much. There's no more. Yeah, from me.
No, can I
Thank you very much.
when they're bold, does that mean we're going to talk about it?
Yeah.